Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 347. It is Friday here in Cincinnati. It is absolutely glorious. We have blue skies, breeze, sunshine, no stickiness. I think it's only going to high 70s today. It is absolutely incredible outside. And yeah, there's so much I have to share with you today. And I actually have a lot of printed things that I'm going to be reading kind of in and out of the thoughts and stream that will be flowing in. So I can feel all this energy like, what are we going to do first? And how are we going to go through this? So settle in. It's probably going to be a pretty long podcast because there's so much to talk about. And also, I trust it's going to flow in exactly the way that brings all the pieces together. So, where to begin? So I'll start with how this sort of evolved in my awareness, and then I'll bring in all of the threads to show it to you. So I have a beautiful friend who lives out of town, pretty far away, and she was coming to town this weekend for an event for someone else, and asked if she could stay with me one night. I love her, have known her for, I don't even know, like 25 years, 20 years? Oh my gosh, a long time, probably 25 years. And our lives kind of weave in and out, and we don't talk all the time, but when we do, we drop right into these amazing, huge, beautiful conversations. And so I knew if she was coming right now after coronavirus, like the quarantine time, something pretty significant was going to be shared or talked about, but I didn't know what, but I was really excited. And so she arrived on Wednesday night, and we had dinner and then just started talking. And as we were talking, almost at the beginning, she said, so I think we're going to say the same things, but we're going to have different words for it, but I think we're talking the same language. And I was like, okay, I'm totally in. And she started describing the work she's doing now, which is the highest level of creation. It's so powerful and beautiful what she is bringing into form. And I hope as she creates her website and talks about it that I'll be able to share it with you. It's profound what she's building. And so I was just listening to her, and the whole time she's talking about light and color and grace and white light. And the whole time I'm like, oh my God, it's my language. It's exactly what I've been talking about. And so when we had some time to sort of overlap and match later in the conversation, I said, well, let me tell you about just white light. Just white light is all the colors merged into one beautiful combination, which is just white light. So we had this, just profound chat about this journey of the soul in the human body, and the way I see it and the way she sees it, and spirituality compared to religion, and how we're completely in alignment. And the whole framework or foundation of what we both believe is love, this all-encompassing, unconditional, inclusive expression that we only have the limited word of love for. And it was just so, like, we both had chills, and we're bouncing up and down, and she'd say something, I'd say something. It was just so much fun. And so the last couple of days we've been playing together in this way that's so much fun. So that's the beginning of it. And this morning when I went for my run, these songs started to play that validated exactly what she and I have said, which is we're speaking the same language, we just use different words. And so the song lyrics I'm going to read, I think, in a few minutes. So that sort of flowed me into today's podcast, and I was just feeling the symmetry, the synchronicity, the synergy of energy when we all focus on this feeling of love, how it brings everything into such clear alignment. And so the songs were supporting that. And as I was running, somewhere in the second song, there was a thought in my head of, in order for all of us to come together as a humanity, it's like we need to get out of our own way. And I had this flash of, in one of our gym conversations, where someone in the gym said that, like, you need to just get out of your own way. And it didn't feel right as they said it, but I wasn't quite sure what the right shift was yet. And so as I'm running, I was like, it's not about getting out of our own way. It's about each one of us becoming the way, becoming the flow, becoming the channel, becoming the vehicle through which love flows and brings us all into this unified oneness. Become the way. Don't get out of the way. And so I'm running this morning. I'm like, become the way. That's brilliant. I love that. I'm sure many others have said those words before, but in the moment, it was completely my new discovery. So I was just running down the road thinking about how awesome that was to become the way, and what would that mean, and what would that look like, and how do we become the way, and how is it different for me or you or each one of us? And like, it was just this whoosh of energy. And so I was just in the flow of the words and how awesome they felt. And then I started to remember some of the phrases that I had been reading in these beautiful articles by Astro Butterfly, and what she was describing about the shift with Venus right now, which totally makes sense because Venus is the planet of love, right? It's all about the heart chakra. So of course Venus is involved in all of us being in this one language that we use different words for, and becoming the way of love. And it was just so amazing to kind of feel it all come together. So here's where I start bringing in some of the resources, and then then we'll see how it flows from that space. So Venus, let's start with Venus. Last week, not this week, but the week before, June 3rd, is when Venus went retrograde, and I described it in a video that I posted on my Instagram and on my Facebook pages. So if you don't follow me, maybe you want to go check out that video. It was about 8 minutes, and it talks about, Venus going retrograde at this time on this planet is significant because there's this pattern in Venus's cycle or rotation, around the sun. There's this pattern that Venus and Earth sort of dance in, and they call it the rose of Venus. It looks like a pentagram. And I hope I have all these words right. Trust the astrologers, not exactly how I use the astrological descriptions, because sometimes I have it just slightly off and they know way more than I know. So as I was reading about this rose of Venus pattern, it described this long cycle that Venus had been going through, and that it completed on June 3rd and started the next rose of Venus at the same time, and it was in Gemini. And so I created a video that sort of talked about that, and then what I see that impact being here at this time with everything that is shifting through all of our structures as a humanity, from coronavirus right into all of the protests, the demonstrations that are happening around equality and justice. So what might be helpful for you is if I read a little bit about Astro Butterfly's descriptions, because I think this helps create the structure that will make sense. And some of this you may already know, all of this you may already know, but maybe you'll hear it a little differently in the way I share it. So I have a lot of printouts, and you might hear some papers moving around. Okay, so here's what this says. This is from Astro Butterfly. On June 3rd, 2020, Venus retrograde is conjunct the Sun. This is when a new 584-day Venus cycle begins. This is also when Venus transforms from an evening star into a morning star. Venus goes retrograde less than any other planet, but when it does, it touches us to the core of our heart. Venus retrograde is similar to a descent into the underworld. A part of us must die so that a new version of ourselves can emerge. Let's see. So it says here, Venus retrograde is nothing else but the beginning of a new Venus cycle. So she talks about the rebirth of Venus. Venus retrograde happens exactly at the end of a Venus cycle, when Venus shifts from an evening star to a morning star. Venus changes her clothes and metamorphoses from an evening beauty into a morning warrior. When retrograde, Venus has to leave behind her beautiful evening gown and embrace the purity of nature with the morning star. Venus retrograde is nothing else but Venus rebirth. The transformation is a complete metamorphosis. No wonder Venus retrograde completely turns our life upside down too. Venus retrograde is a process of transformation that is absolutely necessary. Venus is retrograde for 40 days. Many myths have been connected to the 40 days period. Jesus was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days. Moses and the ancient Hebrews wandered in the wilderness for 40 days. Buddha is said to have fasted and meditated for 40 days before reaching Samadhi. And then she has this beautiful story, a myth of Inanna descent into the underworld, but you can read that part on your own at her website. And then she goes into this part, which is important. The first 20 days of Venus retrograde are about letting go of the old and not a time for new beginnings. This is when old lovers or unfinished things from the past come into your life so that you can finally deal with them. The first half of Venus retrograde is about letting go of something we value. However, when we start the second half of Venus retrograde, things take a completely different turn. Born Again is the title. This is a little-known secret, but exactly in the middle of the Venus retrograde, when Venus is conjunct the Sun and closest to the Earth, this is the best time for a new beginning. This is when you have more free will than ever. In the heart of the Sun, you can manifest whatever your heart desires. This can also be a time of confusion. When Venus is conjunct the Sun, she is invisible, disappearing in the glare of the Sun. Things may not be what they seem, but now more than ever, it is important to listen to your heart. Let the heat of the Sun burn you, just like when Venus throws herself into the arms of the Sun in the Inanna myth. If you do it, you will finally shed your old skin and let go of whatever is no longer serving you. And then, just like Venus is born again, this time in the morning sky, a new you will emerge. Okay, then I'm going to go to her next email, which she sent last week on Friday, a week ago. And it's about the full moon lunar eclipse from last weekend. So she talks about how that first eclipse with the nodes in the Gemini-Sagittarius axis gives us a taste of what's going to come for the upcoming other eclipses. And then she says this part, which is important for all of us where we are right now. This lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is a south node eclipse. So the focus is on releasing the old, south node, rather than on embracing the new, north node. This is from a week ago, for 2 weeks. Right now, the focus is on what's no longer working. The south node is the familiar comfort zone, our default mode, what we are designed to keep doing because it feels safe and natural. The south node is in Sagittarius, so right now we need to let go of those Sagittarius operating models that are no longer working. The south node lunar eclipse in Sagittarius suggests that the time has come to let our inner Sagittarius take a back seat. Sagittarius rules our beliefs, what we believe to be true and morally right. It also rules our dogmas and biases. The lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is a time to acknowledge our dogmas and biases, where we've been on autopilot. This is a south node eclipse, a time of release and letting go. This is not a time to find solutions. Some solutions will come in 2 weeks from now, when we have a solar north node eclipse. Right now, though, the focus is on acknowledging what's no longer working. Letting go of the familiar doesn't feel right. Shedding the old skin feels uncomfortable, and it should feel uncomfortable. If something doesn't feel uncomfortable, chances are there's no real change happening. This lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is opposite Venus and square Mars. Venus is now a young morning star with a mission. She may not know yet what she wants, but her heart is on fire. Her chest is lit up. Mars is at his first square in the hero's journey. This is when the hero leaves the familiar world and crosses the threshold to the unknown world. This phase in the Mars cycle is when the hero is the most vulnerable. He leaves safety behind and adventures in the unknown. This is a time to embrace our vulnerability, because it is only by embracing it that our vulnerability becomes our greatest strength. When we embrace it, we know where we stand. We know our weak areas, and from that place of knowing, we can embark on our new adventure with full awareness. So we are 1 week into the 2 weeks of the letting go and moving towards that shift, which will happen at the new moon next week with summer solstice, with, I believe, a solar eclipse. There's so much astrological support and guidance for what is happening on our planet right now. And when we tap into that and align with that, we become the way. We become the way that this change evolves and expands and unifies. So right now we're still in a process of releasing, but I feel the shift as we're starting to move towards the halfway into the 40 days, as we're starting to move towards the south node going to the north node, as we're moving from releasing to perhaps potential solutions. There is this slight shift, inner shift that is happening. So my invitation, my guidance is let love be the way. Let love be this guiding force that is directing our path. And when we align with that and become that, anything is possible. So here are the songs that, with all of that in my awareness, this was the first song that played today. And as I was running, I realized it's not enough to just give you the links to the song. Like, I would love for you to hear the songs in the order in which I heard them and feel that same activation and flow that I felt. So I created a playlist on my Spotify account that's called Become the Way. And I will put a link in the description for today's podcast episode to get to my Spotify channel, and then you'll be able to see Become the Way is right at the top. It's the first option. So I encourage you, I don't want to say beg, that's a little strong, but I really strongly invite you. I really, really, really would love for you to have the beauty of these songs playing in your awareness. So please visit that playlist, and you'll just receive such a beautiful activation from it. So here are the lyrics to guide us into whatever is supposed to come through in this message next. First song was Miracle of Love by Donna DeLore. I've probably read these lyrics before because I love this song so much, but here we go again. It's different in this moment with this vibration, with all that is happening right now on planet Earth. So here's what she says. This wasn't what I thought it would be. It's more than I could ever dream. It came to me just in time. I had lost faith. I couldn't see the light. Now, I believe in the miracle of love, and grace is raining down over me. It's a miracle of love. Thank you for everything you've given me. I've never felt such a perfect peace. Flow me down the river in your eyes. I can get lost in your paradise. Now I believe in the miracle of love. Grace is raining down over me. It's a miracle of love. I had given up on ever finding you. All my dreams were lost with the promise of another. In your arms, I finally see. Thank God I saw the light. It's beautiful to be here, in love and so alive. Thank you for loving me. With you, I can touch the sky. I believe in the miracle of love. Grace is raining down over me in this miracle of love. I was so lost, but now I'm free. I was so blind, but now I see. In your arms, I can breathe. I can be free. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. And then we went right into Wishman by Trevor Hall. Here's his lyrics. Down by the bayou, I saw good things inside you. Good things inside you, they call into my memories of old. Tell me what you know. I saw a man there. I saw a man and sat down. I shook his hand there. I shook his hand, he laughed loud and put a question to my heart. A question, oh so sharp. He said, Hey, wish man, tell me, what's your wish? Close your eyes, all we got is this. Angels speak of a thing called bliss. Close your eyes, all we got is this. So, what to say, love? So what to say when that turned? I was overwhelmed, and I stood and let my house burn. 'Cause I saw horses in the sky. Let me take that ride. I walked on there. I walked on with thoughts deep. I never knew that love could dig way down and bury me. I turn and face. I do not run. Another chapter has begun, forever one. He said, Hey, wish man, tell me, what's your wish? Close your eyes, all we got is this. Angels speak of a thing called bliss. Close your eyes, all we got is this. And then he says, if I'm straying far away, I get down and start to pray. 'Cause I know that my song will reach those heavens. I stand up, I'm not forgetting. I know. He said, Hey, wish man, tell me what's your wish? Close your eyes, all we got is this. Angels speak of a thing called bliss. Close your eyes, all we got is this. And then the next song was Sacred Blessing, and the last one was Responder. So, now that you have all of the information, the resources that I wanted to share with you, let's find how it all weaves together. Whew, right? That's a lot. It's so much, and it's so beautiful. And what I love, bringing it all the way back to my conversation with my friend Angela, what I love is your interpretation of how you received everything I just read to you, and what Miracle of Love lyrics mean to you, and who Wishman or what Wishman is to you. Your definition of that is perfect and unique and exactly what you see it as and feel it and experience it as. Mine is completely perhaps different and unique and not as yours or someone else's. And it's perfect, right? Angela could listen to this and have a completely different definition of what those song lyrics mean and how Venus is guiding her path. Like, that's the point. That's the beautiful point of us being souls in human bodies on this planet. We come here to have diverse, unique, self-guided journeys in the human body, guided by the soul. And so our interpretations of things, everything comes through our own filter. It comes through our lens, our experiences in this lifetime, in other lifetimes, in other dimensions. As a soul, we bring everything with us into this human realm. And then it's all guiding and playing and co-creating and dancing. And so the interpretations are multiplied. Where I believe we get stuck so much in the density of this human journey is we judge. We see ourselves as right and everyone else as wrong. We see ourselves as having the answer and everyone else as not understanding. Or, we isolate ourselves often we isolate ourselves because we're so rigid in our knowing, our belief. My husband said this to me the other night. He's like, you always say it like you know it. I'm like, I do know it. I totally know it. And you're allowed to know your stuff. Like, where I love dialogue and conversation is where there's no judgment or attachment to needing to change the other person, or even having to always understand the other person. Can we respect? Can we honor the other person? Can we love them? Can we love them without having to change them or fix them or save them or make them believe our way is the right way and their way is not? Like, there is a way. There is a way where all expressions are unique and honored and beautiful. And I believe this time with Venus is, it's like astrology is doing everything they can right now to help humanity. So they lined up the other planets, beings, I don't know what words we want to use, all of the energies of the universe, lined up everything astrologically, so that when humanity reached a tipping point, reached a state of awareness, which coronavirus brought us to, right? Quarantine, everyone being home, everyone slowing down, whoosh, it like brought us to this tipping point where a massive activation could happen in our heart chakras through the sacrifice, the soul in the body known as George Floyd, activating this immense heart chakra opening across humanity. And so Venus lined up to support that. It's this universal transformation, metamorphosis, Venus going from evening star to morning star, the hero's journey, all these words, everything I read to you, it's like all of it comes together to support this activation, to support this awakening, to help humans, souls in human bodies, remember we came here to have unique individual journeys, and we're all always collaborating and co-creating together. So can we lean into our own space, not get out of our own way? Can we become the way? Can we harness all of our focus, our attention inward, and get really centered and aligned with whatever our definition of love is? Tune into that frequency. That's what Venus is sitting in this transformation phase with us, helping us to do. Can we open our hearts? Can we tap into that one version of love, that universal understanding of love, where we all use different words, but it's the same vibration? The vibration is acceptance. I see you. I see you. I see you and I love you. That is a real energy. Words. Words are so limited. You can feel it though. You can feel it when someone sees you. You know how you kind of get that squirmy sort of feeling like, oh shit. Oh shit, they just saw me. Right? Oh. And then if they're beaming love at you, you're like squirming under the lens of love. You're like, oh. And I was talking to two beautiful friends this week, and we were just talking about the heart chakra and, in a group space, how to facilitate connection and opening the heart chakra. And I was describing how often in my circles, I will sit, when I'm physically with people, I'll feel the resistance in someone, and also know like they came to my circle because they wanted this opening, they wanted this experience of love. So even though they're resisting, there's some part of them that got them into my living room for a reason. You don't come to my living room and not want something, not want some kind of love. And so they'll be sitting there and I can feel like all the walls, right? And so I'll just sit on my knees in front of them and gently put my hand on their heart and say, is this okay? And, most people are like, sure, Sure. Put your hand on my heart. I'm good. I'm good. Oh, right. And then suddenly you can feel their heart going, what's happening? Right? My heart's starting to feel something. Ah! And then it could be a second. Well, not quite. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Or it could actually be a couple minutes. That's intense. To have me sitting on my knees in front of you with my hand on your heart chakra for a couple of minutes. Whoa. Right? That's a lot of love. That's a lot of love coming from my hand into your heart. But when they are allowing that kind of connection, my hand is an extension of my heart chakra. And I am firmly settled in my knowing of who I am and what my heart chakra does when it's open. So when my hand's on your heart chakra, like we're feeling something. And it's such joy. Angels speak of a thing called bliss. Close your eyes. All there is this. Right? When two souls in human bodies are face to face, heart chakra to heart chakra, just simply being. I see you. I love you. I don't know if I know who you are in this physical human story that you're writing and living out, but I see you at a soul level and I know you and I love you. That is a real experience. It's real and it shifts everything inside of your cells of your body. It just does. So when we have Venus, the goddess planet of love, I write about Venus in Just White Light, and I describe Venus as this thought form, this energy field of soft pink light, like the very feminine soft pink. You know, when you say baby pink, like that, the very soft, innocent, beautiful expression of feminine love. That's how I see Venus, not as a physical, hard planet that you could walk on, or like we described with, if we could get an astronaut, if we could get an astronaut to Venus, would it be a physical structure that a person could walk around on? I don't believe so. I believe that Venus is an energy, a thought form, a creation of light and color, and it's this soft, beautiful, feminine pink energy. And so and scientists right now are rolling over in their graves. Viv is wrong. Well, we'll see. We'll see when we all die and when we're out as souls in the universe. We'll see what happens. I'll meet you at Venus. I'll meet you at Venus and we'll compare notes. Oh, God. That's what's called a cosmic joke. I'll raise you. I'll raise your stakes and I'll meet you at Venus and we'll see. Oh, God, that's so funny. Okay. So when I feel Venus going from an evening star to a morning star, in the way that the astrologers describe it, I feel like it's just a shift in the vibration, the energy field of Venus. Like, it's more vulnerable. It's like she takes off the dressing or takes off the facade, right? The fancy clothes. She takes off the fancy clothes and she just steps forward as this beautiful goddess, naked, strong energy into the morning sky. It's almost like it is like a rebirth, right? It's like being reborn into the next phase of the feminine strength, which isn't cutting everybody down and tearing everyone apart. It's vulnerable, standing side by side. I see you and I love you, and we're all in this experience together, right? That's what I feel is shifting right now. But to be able to step, let me try and describe this. If you imagine watching like in the movie Wonder Woman, when all of the goddesses live on the planet, the energy place where Wonder Woman comes from, there are all these like Athena goddesses, and they are warriors, and they jump on horses, and they have swords, and they can defend and protect and race and fight, right? They're warriors. If you imagine a warrior who is naked, and she steps out onto a big field to fight, and she's naked. If she's cowering and protecting herself, like in Naked and Afraid, when I watched that show with my husband, some people take off their clothes and stand up, and they're like, let's go fight the jungle, right? And then others are like hiding and covering, and immediately make some clothes out of some leaves and cover themselves. And there's a difference in the energy in how they step into the adventure. What I believe this shift that is happening astrologically is guiding us towards is this feeling of being so vulnerable, being naked in our beliefs, in being seen as a humanity, as a society, all colors. We are all vulnerable in what our dogmas and beliefs are, as Astro Butterfly describes it. Sagittarius, who are you? What do you believe? We're feeling exposed in that. And what I feel as guidance from the articles I read you is this time that we're in right now, this second week of the 4 weeks of the 40 days of Venus retrograde, right? The first 2 weeks are about releasing and letting go. The next 2 weeks, starting next weekend, the next 2 weeks are about stepping into the hero's journey or the heroine's journey. So as we step forward in our vulnerability, in our nakedness, souls in human bodies with all of these feelings that we're all going through, are we stepping forward, hiding, covering, protecting still, ashamed of our nakedness, afraid of what's happening? Or are we standing strong in our vulnerability with our heart chakras wide open? Hand, heart, one to the other. I see you. I know you. I love you. I don't know you in your human journey, but I love you. If that's the way we are stepping into the field, into the hero's journey, can you feel the difference? Instead of naked and afraid, right? This, right, heart open. I don't know what this battle may look like, but I'm putting my weapons down, and I'm opening my heart chakra, and I am going to show you who I am, and I want to see who you are. Are you courageous enough to step onto the field with me and match my energy, match how I'm standing here? That takes so much courage, especially when we have been persecuted for being vulnerable, when we have been shamed for being vulnerable, when we have been judged and put into corners and put into isolation for being vulnerable, to step out again and go. But that's what these songs are calling us towards. This miracle of love. This isn't what I thought it would be. It's more than I ever dreamed. It's so intense. But I feel love. I feel grace, right? I believe in the miracle of love. In the movie Interstellar, they talk about it. There's scientists in the middle of space relying on science to try to find where they need to go. And one of the lead scientists said, what about the power of love? What about that as an energy force in the universe? What does love do? Where does it take us? Let's stop talking about all of the physics, blah, 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 that I don't understand. Let's start talking about that. Let's talk about love as a guiding force that's going to take us to where we need to be. That's what we are shifting on our planet. And the language, the barriers of language trip us up. the stories we've all been living trip us up because they are intense, they are painful. We have so much wounding, and so we sit in all of that, and the invitation is release, be with it, feel it, release it, and then be vulnerable. Open that heart chakra back up. Open it as wide as you're willing to open it, and let's create something different. Truly create something different, and let's do it from this vulnerable, standing up side by side energy. Right? That's the hero's journey that Esther Butterfly describes. Joseph Campbell, how many stories have been written? Disney, how many Disney stories talk about the hero's journey, right? The Lion King, exiled himself for years, grew up, figured out who he was, and then came back and unified his land, his tribe of all the animals, all of nature. Right? He brought peace back. So we have this massive shift that is happening, and in it, right, when the Lion King, for example, was in his exile, he's trying to not think about his land. He's just trying to be in whatever he's creating in that moment. He's trying to live this new reality. But there's always this calling inside of him that knows he's not at his true home. He's not in his true expression. He is this Lion King, pretending to be this exiled regular lion walking around in another jungle. But he's needed in his experience to lead his people, his tribe, into something that brings unity. Each one of us are that Lion King. Each one of us are here with some specific beautiful gift to contribute back to all of humanity. And what Venus is doing in all of her magical, energetic, retrograde work, she's massaging our heart chakras and going, remember this thing we call love? What is love? What actually is it? For you, for me, how do we express it? How do we align with it? And so that brings me to that feeling I had when I was listening to Wishman and what's your wish, right? And all I could hear is get out of your own way so you get your wish. No, no, become the way, And so how do we do that? You know, each one of us, I believe, individually is invited in this time of releasing to get really quiet inside, listen inside. There's that beautiful scene where the Lion King, when he's out in exile, he looks into the still lake. Rafiki is right by his side, and he looks into the still lake and he sees his reflection, and he looks just like his father, right? And he's like, what? That's me? That's who I am? Yeah, our soul inside, which is the infinite, all-knowing aspect of ourselves, whatever your language is for that, the soul, love expressed here in the human body, we all have this knowing at a soul level of what our truth is, what our language of love looks like, of how it feels the most aligned when we are expressing it. Right? For me, it's this space of flow when I sit here and I tune into love and I allow it to move through my crown chakra and out my throat chakra and into this phone and recording it and then transmitting it out to all of you. Like, I know my truth. I know what I am transmitting is this incredibly powerful vibration of love. I'm in such sweet alignment with who I am and what I'm here to contribute. And so it's just this easy heart chakra open. I see you. I love you, whether I know you or I don't know you. Like, I feel that. Each one of us has a different way of contributing our love into the collective wholeness of all of us. Some through art, some through music. My beautiful friend Angela, through this amazing creative process she's tapped into, right? Some just by being babies, animals, trees, flowers, right? They don't even have to do anything. They just emanate love. And we get to receive that love as they just emanate it. Like, we make it so complicated, and it just doesn't have to be that complicated. So as we move into this next week of releasing, find some quiet time. Look inward at yourself, just like the Lion King looking at the reflection in the still lake. Sit with your guides. Rafiki is the Lion King's guide in a body. Well, sit with your own energetic soul guides. Call them in. If you don't know how to do it, just ask. Just sit in prayer or in quiet meditation space and just say, show me, right? When your heart intention is that pure, show me who I am and what I'm here to contribute. Align me with that path that's my highest expression in this lifetime. You can come back and write those words down if you want. That is a powerful mantra, a powerful prayer. When you speak that out loud in your prayer time, in your meditation time to your guides, and you invite that level of support in, you invite in your version of Rafiki, and you open your heart chakra, and you feel, and you cry, and you journal, and you pray more, and you get guided to walk with the trees or lay in the grass and feel the universe at your back, as my one beautiful friend does. Like, there's such power and magic when your guides support you. And then you open your heart chakra and you allow your path to start to take form. And with all that Venus is doing collectively to humanity, if you're asking and you're allowing, your path is going to take form very quickly and very clearly, and whoosh, hold on, hold on, because things are going to start moving, which is the whole point of this time. Right? Releasing, feeling, being, and then north nodes align. Watch out. Now it's time for action. And the solutions, the action steps, when they come from this really steady place inside, are so precise, so powerful. I did that this past week. I was sharing with my friend Teresa. I had this beautiful journaling time. And I was just clear as could be with my guides. Show me what to focus on, because there's so much that needs to be shifted in my life, in the ways I'm exchanging with other people and the things that I'm creating. Show me the highest service, the highest path. What do I focus on and look at so that I can contribute with the most beauty and peace and love that I could bring to humanity right now? Show me the path. And I have a list which I'll be sharing as I start to put all the details together. But it was like, boom, 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 boom. Get your ass in gear. Here's where we're going. And it feels so good. It feels so good to have my priorities ready. There's still some releasing and some heart work I'm doing, and right, some play. I'm putting some play into my weekend. These beautiful conversations with people I love. Like, that's just as important as the quiet space for me. The sharing, the relating, the understanding. And then the support. As I clarify what I'm doing next and where it's going, what it's going to look like, I'm going to want support and playmates to do that with me. So let's start creating that. Right? It's going to be the same for you. When your heart chakra is open and your guides are showing you the path, and you're starting to feel that buzz of energy that's like, oh, I'm in alignment this way. I have become the way for me, for my path, for energy to flow through me, for love to be expressed in a new way. You're going to want to do it with other people. It's going to be way more fun when we're all talking about how we're opening our hearts and how we're creating these collaborations and what it feels like when we're in alignment. It's no fun to be in alignment by yourself and go, yay me, and pat yourself on the back, right? You want to talk about that alignment with other people, and then that energy just creates more energy, and it just expands the love, and the containers grow bigger. Remember a while ago when I said, in one of the podcasts, I said, you're going to align with, how did I say it? You'll hear the voices of your tribe members, and you'll know. You'll speak your voice and your tribe members will hear it and they will know. And people start to get together. You get magnetized towards those you are meant to be traveling with next, to create whatever is meant to be created in humanity next. These little groupings, I think I called them pods when I talked about it. I can't remember which podcast it was, but if you go back, you'll hear it in the last few months. I was talking about when, I think it was in quarantine, when these pods start to gather, we will have specific, unique focuses that we're all aligned with. And so the momentum of lots of people with a very targeted focus creating together, collaborating together, whoosh, right? Whoosh, massive energy coming up underneath that group, supporting their intention. So what is it that you're called towards, that you're interested in? Find those tribes and start to connect and start to talk and start to gather. And then whoosh, right? Like, watch how quickly the momentum supports the creation, the actual physical, energetic, metabolized creation of whatever it is you focused on. It's going to blow your minds. It should blow your minds because the mind becomes the tool for the soul at that point. Your mind should be blown. This was one little side note too that I just thought of when I was talking about going back to old podcasts. When I was going through my songs to see if I had read Miracle of Love, and also to find the printout of the words so that I would save paper, I couldn't find it. I had to listen to the song and write all the words out by hand. But when I was going through my folder with all of the pages of songs that I've read in this podcast space, there was a part from a year ago where I saw a note, and I was talking about wormholes, energetic wormholes, but also like cosmic star gaze wormholes. And I quoted Richard Rudd in that podcast, and I just got the nudge to tell you, if you haven't listened to the podcast from last year as we were about to go through this whole eclipse season, go back to wherever we started with New Moon in Gemini last year and go through some of those. I think last summer I was doing podcasts every day. They were shorter, I think. Maybe they weren't shorter. They were definitely shorter than an hour. But those ones connected to wormholes, that's totally what is happening right now. But it's a different kind, a different feeling. It's different, but it's still, there's value in those podcasts if you haven't heard them yet. So there's some little treasures and nuggets for you back there. For this time, right now where we are, the wormhole, if I were to use that word, is the heart chakra. And what Venus is specifically gifting us with is all of her focus, her attention, her energetic soothing and massaging of the heart chakras. Her strength, her power, her courage, but from the space of one love, unified love, inviting us to find a way back to that as humans. We know that as souls. We come from that unified love. We return to that unified love. So in our human capacity, we can access that. We can create that. We can realize that on this human plane. And that's what Venus is bringing us right now. So do your heart work. Sit with your heart chakra. Feel your feelings. Release what is ready to be released, and then call in your guides. Ask them over this next week as we head towards the new moon. Ask them, show me, right? Show me so that I know, so that I have guidance. Which way am I going? How do I become the way? Not get out of my own way. How do I become the way? And then hold on. Hold on. If you are sitting at that, like, what would I describe it as? This is what people often say to me in circle spaces in my gym space. They're like, oh, you're looking at me and I know that means that I'm supposed to do something or say something. Right? It's that laser focus, me with my hand on their heart. And they're like, oh, I gotta feel it. But I don't know what to do with it. And if you're feeling like you're right at that space, I have new moon phone sessions that I offer just for the new moon. So I'll have them next week on Friday. I think there's 12. Is that right? 5 hour, 10. There's a very specific number of them. They're 20 to 30 minutes each, and they're $44, which is an absolute bargain for what you're going to receive. So if you feel called, book it now, because once they're gone, and they're just for the new moon. So you can do that for next week on Friday. And as always, we meditate on Sundays, and with what is happening, with what we are being invited into at this time on our planet, meditate, get quiet, call it prayer, whatever your language is, it doesn't matter. Go inward and connect to your guides, because there's always support and wisdom. There's always love. It's the miracle of love is it never ends, it never runs out, and every time you choose to tap in, you will be washed with the grace of it. Whatever your religion or your language or your definition, love is this grace that transforms your life. And we are washed with love right now from Venus. So that feels complete. That feels complete. Okay, I am switching gears. I've got the gym in a few minutes, so we're going to gather. If you have not yet checked out the gym, my energy gym is so freaking cool. It's so fun, and we're just having the best time. So, I mean, we're doing our heart work. But when you do it in community, it is the most precious, amazing experience. So check that out on my website if you haven't yet. It's under Offerings Community, Viv's Energy Gym. And I'll see you next week. We're going to be right at the new moon, right at the summer solstice, all kinds of magic that I'll have to talk about. If you're tired of astrology, too bad. It's not going anywhere with me or with anybody else. So next week, Viv's version of astrology will be back. I wish you such a beautiful day. I wish you bliss, and I wish you the miracle of love. Angels, what is it again? Angels speak of a thing called bliss. Close your eyes. All we've got is this. I send you so much love from my heart tonight. Thank you for tuning in to this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me on Sunday mornings for an hour of meditation, visualization, and energy healing, where we realign our mind, body, spirit with Gaia and Source. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.